Hello everyone, welcome to TechSpot. My name is Anuj Kumar, Java trainer, having a 5+ years of IT experience. This is the advanced Java session 10. So today's class agenda is we will see what in previous classes basically we have covered all the necessary topic related to the Spring Boot project. Okay. Now today we will basically create a Spring Boot project. That is we will today we will see how we will create the project, and inside that we will basically perform a CRUD operation related to the database. Okay. Then we will see what is Maven Gradle and what URL breakdown is a, the URL which we are seeing in our web browser, what the things are written, what is basically meaning of everything local host, what is 8080, what is HTTP, which all thing we will break down and see under. Okay, so let me move to the first thing. Uh, Let me first go to our project. So today we will start from our project. So open your STS. Okay, first open your STS. So this is our STS. Okay, now we are going to create a one Spring Boot project. Okay, the first way of creating the Spring Boot project, go to file, go to new. Okay, earlier we are choosing the Java project. Okay, now we will. Okay, now we you can choose Maven project or Spring Starter project. So basically we will choose Spring Starter project. Okay, click here. For creating and doing the thing, you must check the connection, internet connection is strong, or you should connect it to the internet. Okay, if not it will basically not work. So we have now click on the new Spring Starter project. Okay, this here is a name, so you can give the name of your project. Okay, so currently I will give well, I was working, it is not working. Okay, now it is working. Okay, now it is working. So I will give the name as currently project 7. Okay. So whatever name you will give in the name, the same name will be basically written in the artifact also. Okay. You can see if I remove this 7th artifact also, 7 removed. So the name and artifact name will be same. Okay. Then after this, you will choose the Maven and Gradle. Okay. So okay. Gradles basically use the Groovy and Kotlin Maven. Okay. Then which version basically you want to it. This will basically automatically take the Java version which you have added by in your environment variable. Okay. So 17 only, or you can change the value also. Okay. Then packaging in jar language is Java. It is okay. Then group name. The group name and the package name should be same. Okay. So this is basically I will basically change the example to project 7. project 7. Okay. Then I will copy this group name and simply paste in package also. It should be same. Okay. Otherwise you will getting the error. Okay, this thing is okay. Here we have given the name and artifact name should be same, group name and package name should be same. Then click on the next. Okay, after clicking on the next, we can see here we basically add the dependencies which we are going to use in our project. So basically here we are using MySQL database, so I need a MySQL driver. Type MySQL driver. So it has come. So click here. So it has been added. So MySQL driver has been added. Now we can use MySQL driver. It will basically uh, import all the useful dependency for the connection between your project and the database. Okay. So that is the need of the MySQL. Then I don't want to manually create the table in MySQL. Okay. And add the data. Then if you don't want to manually create the table in the database or add the data, because previously we are manually creating the table and all by writing this types of query. I don't want to do this. If you don't want to do this, just use an Hibernate. Okay. here. So for using an Hibernate, you have to add the Maven dependencies, that is Spring Data JPA, Spring Data JPA. This Spring Data JPA basically help you to import all the necessary things related to Hibernate. Now you are free. Just create an entity class. The entity class name, same table will be created into your database, and you can perform a CRUD operation. You do not need to write the SQL queries with the help of Hibernate. Okay. Basically, entity class object will be created. With the help of those object, you will basically get the data, okay, from the database. And what happened in between that, the object which you will use to get the data basically will be converted into a SQL in the backend, and it will get the data according to query and retrieve the data, and that data will be sent to the object. With the help of object dot name, you will get the data whatever you are fetching. Okay, so that is the use of Hibernate. After Hibernate, I want to use in web. I want to use web APIs. For that, using web API, you have to use dependency Spring Web. Means you want to create a web application. Okay, so I will basically use Spring Web for creating a web APIs. Okay, where I will create an APIs. Okay, so I will use Spring Web. Okay, then I want one more dependencies. Basically, what whenever I will create a functionality or update our code, write the code, and then after we will hit or search the URL in our local host. Okay, here basically we will search the things. Okay, so every time when we update, then if you will not use this dev tool basically, then what happen when every time will you will update the data, then you have to every time you run the server, run the tomcat. Okay, then this thing will be basically hectic. You don't want to every time again and again run your server and come here and hit the URL. Just you will refresh, and it will basically show the updated version of your project. So for that we will basically use the dev tool. Okay. Spring Boot dev tool. Dev tool. That is a Spring Boot dev tool. This dev tool we will basically use. So we have added the dependencies Spring Boot dev tool for auto update, Spring Data JPA for Hibernate, MySQL driver for MySQL connection, Spring Web for creating an web application. Okay, and just click on finish. Okay, it will take 1 to 2 minutes or maybe take 5 minutes according to your internet connection. It will basically now it is importing all the required dependencies. Okay, so it will take 1 or 2 minutes. Now the all the dependencies has been imported, downloaded. Now go to this project. Okay, this is our project. So here you are seeing here you are seeing the first photo. This is the basic the structure of the Maven project. Okay, this is the basic structure of Maven project. First, we have src main.java. Inside this src main.java, we will basically create controller layer, model layer, service layer, entity layer. Okay, that we will create inside this layer. Okay, then we have src main.resource.java. Inside this we have static template. So static, inside static we will keep the images, static file, css file. Okay, then template, inside the template you can keep your HTML page. Then application, the property, we will basically write our whatever the connection basically we like MySQL connections and Hibernate connection, that we will basically write here. Those properties we will basically write, the MySQL property, Hibernate property, we basically write inside application dot property. Then we have src.test.java. Here basically we will create a test class, that is a JUnit class to testing whatever we have developed inside our controller, service layer, repository, that all the thing. Okay, then we have src system.library. That is basically all the libraries will be here. Okay, under this, so you can see all the libraries, JDK, everything will be stored inside the libraries. Okay, the library file basically inside this library. Then this is a Maven dependencies, which basically this automatically get imported. So that is the basic difference. And Spring, basically we are manually importing the all the dependencies and libraries. But here in Spring Boot, we do not have to manually import the dependency. Just we have added the dependencies when we are creating the project, and then afterward the libraries and dependency has been automatically get imported. Okay. Then we have a SRC here. This SRC is our main. Inside this main, we will create web app, then web INF, and here we can create a JSP page. Okay. Then this we have a pom.xml file. Inside this pom.xml file, you can see when you get this type of error, don't panic. It will be basically removed when you close the this pom.xml file. Okay. Then here you can see your all the description and detail, like model version is 4.00. Okay. Then this is basically an XML format. Okay. Greater than, smaller than, parent close, parent. This is parent close, parent open, and this is a parent close. Okay. Then inside this we have group ID, then artifact ID, version, relative path. Okay. Then parent close. Okay. Then again, and this is the way of writing a XML. Okay. Inside XML. Then here we have the project ID as a project 7. The project name is the project 6. Okay. This is the description of the project, which you can change while creating the project. Okay. This is the license. Okay. Then coming to the downward. Okay. From here, dependencies, tag dependencies. So inside dependencies, we have dependency and open, dependency close, dependency open, dependency close. Okay. In last, we have also a closing bracket of the dependencies. Okay. So when there will be opening, then closing bracket also. So currently you do not have to focus on XML language. Slowly we will see how to read and develop or write the XML language. Okay, it is not necessary for you to do. Okay, so this is we have the starter data JPA. Basically, it is this is the dependency of Hibernet and starter web. Okay, web dependencies, dev tool. Okay, for auto configuration. Okay, not auto configuration, auto update. Then MySQL, when we have imported the MySQL connector jar for database connection, then this dependency, that is the test is basically added by default. Okay, for testing your components. The components here are basically testing the component. Basically means basically we will create a REST controller, that is a component. Service layer is a component where we create a method which we import inside a use inside controller, that is a component. Repository is a component. Okay, so that is the basic component. Okay, now this is the basic. Now if you further moving to the, let me explain some few topics related to the project, so that you will, if you have confusion, it will be cleared from this. So basically when we are creating the project, we have chosen the Maven. Okay, there are two options, Maven or sorry, we have two options, Maven or Gradle. Okay, Gradle. Okay, these are the two ways we can create the project. So the first we have seen what is a Maven. Okay, we have currently created a Maven project. So Maven is a build automation and dependency management tool used for primarily for a Java project. Okay, all the dependencies basically present inside the Maven, go add the dependencies with the help of Maven, they will automatically be added. Okay, all the things inside Maven. So if it helps the developer to build their code, okay, compile and package, we do not have to manually add all the dependencies. Okay, manage the dependency. Maven will manage the dependency like external libraries like Spring Boot and Hibernet. Just we have done with the help of Maven. We have added the dependencies, then run the test, create the jar and var file, and deploy your application with the help of Maven. Okay, that is the Maven. Now, what is the use of Maven? Because why we are using Maven? We are using Maven because it write the Java code. It's not just about the Java file. You also writing a Java code is not just about the Java file. We have to add the dependencies. For adding the dependency, we have to go to Maven libraries and add the data with from Maven libraries, and it will basically compile and test the package. Okay, it is a version control for the library. It is basically a version control for the library. What Maven automate and simplify all of this. Means it will automate the import the all the libraries and packages related to the dependencies which you have added with the help of a Maven. Okay. Then what is a Maven structure? So as we have created a Maven project, we have seen we have src main.java. Inside src main.java, we will create our controller, REST controller, repository, service, and all. Then we have test where we will create test classes. Then pom.xml, we have where main configuration file is present of your project. Okay, that is a pom. Just we have I have told you, described you. Then we have a what Gradle project. Okay, so Gradle is basically little bit difficult, but it is because it is basically used some another language. So Gradle is a modern, powerful build automation tool for a Java and other JVM based language. It is used to compile the code, manage the dependency, run the test, and package application, just like Maven, but with a better performance and flexibility. Okay. Basically, its performance better than a Maven, but most of them are using Maven because it is easy to understand. Okay, simple language. Why basically use the Gradle? Why use Gradle? Faster build using the incremental compilation and caching. Use of the here in Gradle basically Groovy and Kotlin language are used, which is basically generally it's difficult. Okay, you have to give additional time to learn this, and then you can work. If you do not know Groovy and Kotlin, don't choose the Gradle. Okay, and highly customizable and scriptable. So Gradle project structure will be same as RC main.java. Here you will write all the components. Then same you have the test. Then you have a build Gradle. For that you have to knowledge of the Groovy, Kotlin language, setting.gradle where project setting will be there. Okay, like pom.xml in Maven here setting.gradle, build Gradle, main build script will be there, and here the scripting can be built inside the build Gradle. So this is this is a quick comparison for a Maven and Gradle. You can go through it for your interview perspective and revision. Then we have seen pom.xml where all the dependencies, plugin, project detail, project version, dependencies, plugin, built-in setting will be basically mentioned there. Okay, and we can also change it manually. Okay. This is the basic flow of the Spring Boot. That is front. When the request will come from the front end, it will go to REST controller. After REST controller, when we hit the method is basically present in service layer. Okay, that method will service layer hit the database with the help of repository layer. That repository will get the data with the database. So the request will come on front end to controller, then controller to a service layer, service to repository, repository to database. And that from database it will get the data. And again, if we go backward, repository, service, controller, and front end in this way. So this is the general flow. You repository generally extend JPA repository. The JPA repository basically present in Hibernet. So JPA basically JPA repository means Java Persistence API, which is basically used by Hibernet. JPA is a specification for managing the data persistence. Okay, persistence means the class persistent basically means the class whose object is mapped to relational database in Java application. It provide basically JPA provide the standard way for Java object to interact with a relational database. Okay, so though in Hibernate JPA and API is basically present, the full form is Java Person API. Is basically JPA API tells the Hibernate how we will interact with the database with the help of the object. Okay, so JPA act as an interface do- okay, during the rules, and it have basic rules and guideline for interacting with ORM, object relational mapping. So that is the basic use of JPA. So that's why when we create a repository, we will extend JPA repository. If you are not using a Hibernate, you can extend CRUD repository. Okay, and then you are not using Hibernate, you have to extend CRUD repository. Then you have to manually create the table, add the things, and that all. Okay. Now, uh, okay, this will I will come to forward. Let me tell you Hibernate, and then I will jump to the our project. Okay, so we are generally using the Hibernate. Okay, so what is Hibernate? So Hibernate is a popular ORM, that is object relational mapping tool for a Java. It let you to map the Java class. Okay, Java class. It will Java class object to, that is Java class object to relational database. Means you will create an entity class. That entity class object will be mapped to relational database. That entity class names table will be created in your database with the help of Hibernate. Okay. So you do not need to write the raw SQL query for the most of the operation when you are using Hibernate. The main goal of Hibernate is to bridge the gap between the Java object world and a relational database. Okay. You can use Java object to represent a database table. Use whatever entity class you will create, that entity class name, that object, the data, the table will be created in your database. And basically it helps us to perform that operation using the Java code. No need to write SQL queries. So how Hibernate basically work? First, we have to create an entity class. We will create a Java class, annotate with @entity. The @entity annotation basically mark or tells that this is an entity class and it should be mapped to the database. Then Hibernate, then afterward Hibernate configuration, that is the Spring Boot does this list for you. Like you define the database connectivity or dialect in application dot properties. Okay, we are there. We will write the property for connectivity with application dot property. Okay, then in repository we will extend JPA repository. Okay, in JPA repository we have some built-in method like save method for save the data, find by ID method to find by ID. Okay, find all, we basically find all the data. Then delete by ID is method to delete by ID. This all are okay. This all are predefined methods. For this method, we do not have to write the SQL queries. Okay, that's what. Now, step 4 will be Hibernate translate. Basically, it will create the object and it will translate to SQL query. When you call a student repository dot save method, the save method which are present inside the JPA repository, it will what? It will basically save that data in Hibernate in database, and Hibernate automatically translate into the SQL and save the data. So what is Hibernate architecture? Java entity class. It will create the object of object, then object with the help of object, it will basically make a contact to the JDBC and the database. Okay. Now, this is a feature of Hibernate, that is automatic table creation with the help of DDL-auto command caching. Uh, so here caching, that is the first level cache. By default it is using caching, means a buffer memory which will basically save the recently used object. It will not directly go to a database and hit every time. It will first check in the cache memory that the object is present or not. If the object is not present in the cache memory, then it will go to the database and hit the value. Okay, so the number of hit directly to the database is basically reduced with the help of caching. Then it is using a lazy loading and ear loading. Transaction management is done. Basic transaction is basically transaction of the database, and portable SQL using HSQL. You do not have to write SQL queries. Hibernate life cycle in Spring Boot is basically, this is the Hibernate life cycle. Sometimes interview may ask you, so you can answer the Spring Boot. When we start the Spring Boot app, Hibernate read the entity class, create and map, create the table with the name of entity class in database, map them to the DB table with the help of object of that entity class, create, then afterward it will create a session factory. Okay, then listen for the repo and service call. Listen for the repos and whatever the method which we have created in service. Okay, the service is basically interact with the repo. The repo will basically fit into the database, create the SQL query, then execute the SQL query by JDBC and return the map result to a Java object. Okay, this is the way. So no. So I have table entity class. What is Hibernet? I have told you. What is the breakdown of URL? Basically, what happened? The in URL you know HTTP colon slash slash localhost colon 8080 slash get. In this way, basically URL yeah in is written. So what is HTTP? HTTP basically is a protocol used for communication between the client and the server. Okay, that is basically HTTP. Okay, then local host basically a host. Local host basically the is means your server means your computer address, your server address. Here it is a local machine. In your local machine, that is a local host. And port is the nothing but area allocated for some software permanent to run. So Spring Boot basically run in port number 8080, port number in which the Spring Boot server is running. Then path or endpoint slash get basically get all the data slash get by id. This way we are basically generating slash get endpoint. We will in controller layer we will basically generate an endpoint. Okay, which we generally be known as an API. So rest slash get is a rest endpoint or URL that is mapped to the map to a controller method. Okay, when we hit in this get, the data will be added and that is basically mapped to a controller method. Okay, so now this is the basic. Now let's jump into our project. Okay, so now what we will do first, okay, we this is done, this is done. First I will go to application dot property. In application dot property I will map add the properties of our Hibernet. Okay, for Hibernet first we have to write the three lines. That is a spring dot data source dot URL, spring dot data source dot URL. Okay. So here this is the first, then second spring dot data source dot username username, spring dot data source dot username, this one. Okay, so our username is basically root. Okay, in MySQL, when we are login, then you have to write username and password. So that same username and password we have to write root. Then spring dot data source dot password, spring dot data source dot password. This one. The password, write the password. Okay. Then here spring dot data source dot URL. Our URL will be JDBC colon MySQL, JDBC colon MySQL colon double slash. For this is a forward slash. Then localhost colon port number of Spring Boot is 8080. Okay. Oh, sorry, port number or not Spring Boot. This is a MySQL. MySQL port number is 3306 3306 slash and write the database name. So what database basically I will use here? I will use okay. I will use this one which is open. That is a demo 3. Demo 3 database I will use. So I have to write the demo 3. What is correct? Demo 3. Demo 3. Okay, correct. Now this is the for making a connection with our database. Now for creating a table automatically with the help of Hibernet, we have to write one line SPRI string dot JPA Java persistent API, which basically tells the Hibernet how you will standard rules are there, how you will map to the ORM, object relational mapping, the spring.jp.hiber Hibernate. This first one, spring.jp.hibernate.ddl dash auto, ddl dash auto, click on, double click, okay. So after that you can write create, so, or you can also write update. So what is the difference between create and update? Let me tell you. If you write create, then every time it will create a new table, okay, or delete the previous table. But if you write update, UPDAT, it will not drop the previous table. It will just update your table, okay. So that's why we are using update. So that is the difference between create and update. Generally, every time you use update only, so update is recommended. And if you want to see the what are the SQL queries which are basically generated by the Hibernate, to see inside the console, you can write a one line, that is SPRI, spring dot jpa dot so SQL, spring dot jpa this so SQL equal to true. This will basically show you the not this true. This will basically show the SQL queries which are basically developed by SQL. Okay, and save this. Then this is application dot property. Okay, then close this one. Now, coming to this src.main and Java. This is the first package you are seeing. This is a main package. Here we have a main class. Okay, this main class. So basically, this what is main class? What is a Spring Boot application annotation? Okay, this all thing. Let me explain you one by one. Okay, like here the main class, this is an entry point of the application, similar to like in previous we have here in previous classes. Let me show you like in Java C src a, this is a class. So this is the main method, this is a main method. So when we, okay, all the things will basically run when there is a main method present. Okay, it will help us to run the application. Okay, similarly here also. Hmm. Similarly, here also this is main method which basically run your this project, your application. Okay, and then we have a Spring Boot application annotation. This is the main annotation of your project, your application. It is a basically convenience annotation that is a combination of this annotation basically is a combination of at the rate configuration annotation, which basically use mark the class as a configuration class. Okay, it will auto. Okay, then we have first is here. Let me not here, here. This at the rate Spring Boot application introduction is made up of at the rate configuration. Basically it is used for configuration. This annotation work is for configuration. Then second annotation, it is made up of enable auto configuration. Basically it will auto configure the it is basically used for enabling the auto configuration. Then we have the third annotation, that is the com at the rate component component scan. This component scan annotation basically used for scanning the all the component which are basically present inside your application. Means in controller layer we have the REST controller, repository layer we have repository, in service layer we have add the REST service. So this all the component and annotation which we scan with the help of component scan. Enable auto configure will auto configure. Okay, configuration is used for the mark the class as a configuration class and used for the configuration. Okay, it's simple. So this is the basic of So if some interview asks, tell me about Spring Boot application, you can tell in this way. Okay, this is an interview question which I have tell you just now. Then afterward, we have to now I have one part is done. We have created the project and we have seen what is main class and what is the entity. Okay. Now what we will do, I will create first thing. Now this is your main package. Click here, go to new, go to package, create one package dot control controller, because here I finish. Here we will create a controller class. Then again go to here, go to new, go to package, then dot model, here dot entity, entity. Here we will basically create an entity class. Okay. Then again go to here, click, then click on the service, not package. Click on the package. I will create service packages. Here we I service. Yes, here we see. Here basically I will create a service class and a class implementing the service class. So inside a service class, we will basically use the OOPS concept where we will using inheritance, polymorphism, and inside method overriding. This all concept we will basically use inside the service class, and I will show you in a few minutes how. Then go to new, again create a package. This time we are creating a repository or repository. Is basically we will create a repository class here. Okay, these are the four different types of packages. Okay, so first we will go to entity class. Okay, and click here, go to new, and go to new, go to class, and write the entity class name as student. So student. So means I want to create a student table. So I have created the entity class with the name student. Okay. Just enter, finish. So your this is your entity class. To make this Spring Boot knows that it is entity class, right at the rate INTITY. Now your application basically knows this is a entity class. Uh, okay. Now, hmm, entity class. Okay. So what is entity class? Let me show you. Entity class basically, what happened here? Oh, control plus one. Uh, why it is stuck? Stuck. Just 1 minute. It will start working again. चालू हो जाता है. Okay. So what I am saying, you in keyboard press Control CTRL plus one. Now you can see this import. Click on this. So now in this way you are basically importing the things. Okay. So now in this way we have created the first entity class. Okay. So now what? Now I want to create the columns. Okay. So how you are basically create the columns? Basically you have to create a variable. Whatever variable you will create it, the same variable name column will be created in the tables. Okay. Basically at the rate entity, mark a class as a this I am telling you about this entity annotation. At the rate entity annotation, mark this class as a JPA entity, a class that map to a table in a database. This class basically map a table in a database. This object is basically map to the table in database. Okay, with the help of JPAs. Okay, so that is the entity. Now I will create a different variables like I have to create a variable like a student have the ID, so I will create private private and ID. Okay. Now, this is the idea of the student. Every idea of the student should be unique and it should be a primary key. Okay, primary means it should be unique, not null. Okay, so I will mention at the rate ID. This at the rate ID annotation source it should be a unique and it should be a primary key. So this ID is basically with the help of at the rate ID annotation. I am telling that this is basically a student STUID means student ID STU or you okay just write ID is simple ID. Okay, go here and control+1 and import this. Okay, now so this is ID is will be basically unique and a primary key. Now every time I don't want to add ID. I want that ID should be auto generated and auto incremented. Okay. For that we have a one special annotation that the at the rate GENERAT it will generate generated value VALU at the rate generated value. And you can write strategy STRATEG strategy equal to generation type dot identity GENERAT generation type dot identity this, and you have to import this one. Import this annotation basically auto increment this ID. You do not have to every time write the ID. If you do not write the ID, it will automatically keep incrementing the ID by +1. Okay, that is the basic use of the at the rate generated value strategy equal to generation type dot identity. Okay, this is the code. So this, and after that we have to after this entity now ID. Then I want a student name or name, email, city, whatever. So I will create private string name. Name should be a string. Okay, string yes should be basically capital. Then I want private string email. Okay, what is the email of the student basically? Then this much only. I want only two field. Okay, now and then you have to generate getter and setter so that you can get the data or set the data. So go to the source. How click left mouse. Sorry, click left mouse button. Go to the sources. Go to generate getter setter. Okay, select all and generate. So see here setter getter is basically automatically created. We do not have to manually write the thing. Okay, so this is the good thing about STS. Okay, now with the help of getter and setter, we can get the data and set the data. Okay, by get ID, we will get the ID and set ID, we will set the ID. Okay, now what? Now we have to create a default constructor in this our entity class. The default constructor that is a no R constructor, a constructor without parameter. Why we basically need a default constructor? Because JPA that is a Hibernet required no R constructor to create an entity object using a reflection. Okay, because Hibernet want to create an object. So without a default constructor, Spring Boot JPA will throw an exception. What exception it will basically throw? no default constructor for an entity class. So when I was starting you constructor, I have shown you while compilation, the compile will automatically create the default constructor. Okay, in simple Java project. But here, as a developer, you have to create the default constructor, and also you have to create a constructor with an argument. Okay, why we will create a constructor with an argument or constructor with a field, because to initialize the basic constructor, what is the work, it will basically initialize the variable. So these are variables. Okay, so the constructor with an argument basically help us to initialize the variable. With this basically constructor with an argument allow you to easily create the object with all the data which are predefined. Okay, and when writing the test case, and it will help us to writing the test case or create a DTO, yeah, data transfer class. Okay, what is data transfer class, we will see in further classes. Okay, just write off. So in this way, so first go to the same way, go to the your resources, go to constructor with a super class, generate. Okay, this is a constructor, that is it. Nowhere constructor, then I want to create a constructor with a field. Go to constructor with using field, select all, or already selected, generate. So this you can see initialization of the variable. Now also I want to string method. Okay, to string method basically used. So what is the use of the to string method? First let me tell you here. Two-string method help in debugging. Okay, basically two-string method help us in debugging. Shows the content of the object in a logs. Okay, in log file basically shows the content of the object. Help us in debugging. Without two-string method, the printed object will basically give you an object address in object address. Okay, not the object data. So that's why we are using toString method. Okay, without toString, print the object, give you the memory reference like a student dot at the rate 123. Okay, this object address they will say. So go to the sources, source, go to the generate toString, selected, selected. This much only you want, not this you will want. Generate. Okay, this is the toString method. Okay, now let me remove the spaces. Okay, remove the extra spaces. I remove the extra spaces and remove the extra spaces. So from starting, this is the at the rate entity inversion. This will tell that this class is an entity class to our Spring Boot. It is marked as entity. This entity is basically the its object will be mapped to the relational database with the JPA object, and JPA object will interact with the database with the help from ORM object relational mapping. At the rate ID basically tells this student ID will be unique and primary key, and with the help of primary key, we are basically making a connection with the other table with the primary and foreign key. Remember, so at the rate generated value is strategy equal to generation top dot identity basically will auto increment the ID. Okay, some case you can also see here at the rate table and name equal to, then here table name will be written. Okay, in this way, in this way, in some case you will see. So don't be panic. This thing is basically, if you provide this, then the table will be created with the name of student. Okay, and here the s is small. Okay, whatever name you will basically give here, that name is table will be created. But if you not give this thing, then automatically the table with the name student will be created in your database. Similarly, sometime you will also see here at the rate COLUM column. Okay. So this is also not recommended. Automatically the column with the name ID, name, email will be created. Okay. No need of this. Okay. And just save. So in this way we have created an entity class. Okay. now now we have created the entity class. Okay. After entity class, we will go to Go to our repository. I will create a repository. Basically, in repository, we have to create an interface. Go to interface. Now create a repository of student repository, whatever name you want to give, you can write student repository. Generally, I will recommend keep the proper name, because whenever the other developer will come and see student repository, so he by the name he can understand this is repository for student. Similarly, okay, this is the naming convention. Similarly, if you want to create a service layer, you will write a student service. You want to create a controller layer, you will get a student controller. Okay, this way, when the you see or some other developer will see, so he can understand this is a student controller, this is a student service layer, this is a student repository. Okay, in this way, and just a student repository. Add. You can search here JPA REPOSITORY. Why it is again stuck? Okay, now it has come. So how what happened here? Go to add in here, choose interface. Now we have to use Hibernate, so we have to implement the JPA interface. But we use the JPA, so write JPA repository REPOSITORY. Okay, this way. JPA repository. Click here and OK and finish. So now I have created a repository. Okay. Public interface student repository that is extending JPA repository. JPA repository have built-in method like save method for saving the data. No need of writing the SQL. Get all, will fetch the all the data from database. We will get all the thing and we will store in the list. Okay. So here we have to write in the annotation at the rate REPOSITO or by repository control plus yeah one import. Okay. Now one thing, here we have to pass your entity class name, our student student. Okay. And then here you have to pass ID, means whatever the data type of your this where is entity class. Here whatever is the data type of your ID of the entity class, that is here we have the int. Okay. So I have to pass the int. Okay. How I have to pass the this repository. I have to pass here integer to integer int is integer object. Okay, then here student, click here, import the student. Okay, done. So means now your entity class is basically connected with a database, JDBC database with the help of repository layer. And here we are extending JPA repository. JPA is a Java persistent API which tells the Hibernet, which have standard rules, predefined things, how we will basically run or interact. Okay, so this we have interacted with them. Okay, now, hmm. So this is the main class, close this one. After that, controller, we have created the entity class. Close entity class, we have created the repository. Close the repository. Now, the things which are not created, you can see the change in color, change in the color in the package. Okay. Now go to here, new. Okay. Create the class. Go to class. Class, and you can create give the name of the class like student, student, and student, control, student controller, enter. Okay. And you can write here at the rate rest control, rest controller, means this will tell the Spring Boot this class is a rest controller, and control plus one import 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 हो जाए भाई। काहे नखरे दिखा रहा है? Okay, now it is imported. In this way we have imported the thing. Okay, REST control basically help us to creating an APIs. Okay, REST APIs. Now we have created the REST API. Okay, now one thing I want to say here. The two ways, the two ways I will show you for interacting with the database. Okay, so we have created a repository. So here in Spring Boot, basically for creating an object, we will use at the rate auto wired annotation, at the rate auto wired annotation, and create the object of your class. Which object you want to create, like private. I want to create the object for student, STUD, student repository, REPOSIT, by, and object name is repo. Okay, I have to import this, import, and import this student repository also, student repository 7.repo. This way we are imported. Okay, so in this way we are creating the object with the help of the auto wire will perform dependency injection. What is dependency injection? While compilation, it will automatically create the required bean of the class which you want to create the object. So that is the thing. Now the auto wire basically have a dependency injection. Dependency injection will be created the required bean of your class and object. So now what is the next? This is the controller layer. We have created the object of the repository. Okay. Now you can create an APIs. Okay, like I want first I want to create an I want to save yeah, add the data. Okay, I want to save the data, add the data, like so for adding the thing, post mapping colon slash save. Save is the URL endpoint. Okay, same is the URL endpoint. Save. Then I will create a one method that is a public student. I want to create a student. So write create. The name is the create. Then we have at the rate request body, at the rate REQUEST request body, which entity class name is student, and object of entity class STUDE. Okay. So what is basically I am doing here is, okay, first I will create my method and this, and RETURN return a service repository repo dot save. I have tell you the JP repository have some predefined method like save, find all, find by ID. So I want to save the record. Just type save. Yes, save. So you can see save, and save what you want to save. I want to save this student object of entity class. So student, STUDE into student. Okay, and this. Now first I will import the student entity class. Imported. This is gone. Post mapping I have to import post mapping. Post mapping basically used for posting the data, creating the data. Okay, this is save is the endpoint. Okay, then request body I have to import. Click here, request body. So request body is a one, and post mapping, in previous classes I've developed, and just now the post mapping basically is for posting the data, creating the data. Okay, and it will basically saved with the help of this saved endpoint. And now, what is a request body? This is the new. So request body will basically get the data from the. We will basically get the data from the request body used to extract a JSON object. Okay, we will basically with the help of request body we will extract the data in the form of JSON object. Okay, and stored in the body of the request, and we will basically store in the body of the request, that is the post or put. Okay, post or put, we will get the data in the form of JSON. Okay, that we will store in the request. This is our request. It will basically store in the save, and it will be saved in our data. So just this one. Okay, control plus save. So this is the first. And what will be how will be the our URL? Our URL will be look like this: http colon slash local host colon 8080 slash get. This is the URL. And okay, the local host port number string put HTTP. Okay, protocol get is the endpoint, not get. Here I have written save for save. The save is the endpoint here, and this in this way we are generally creating an APIs. In this way, I have created the first APIs. Okay, for posting the data means creating the data. Okay, in the table student. This is the student table object. Request body basically used to extract yes, the data in the form of the JSON. Okay, and save it into the body of request here. Now, this is the first thing. Control plus save. I have saved the thing, and go to your project and run as Spring Boot app. So, so go to downward, 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 down. Okay. Go here, 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 here. So you can see here Tomcat started at port number 8080. Okay, HTTP. Okay, so this is the thing. Now what? Go to the postman. Okay, go to the this is the types HTTP types, that is a get for get the data with the help of URL. Okay, post for posting the data, put for update, patch for partially update, delete for delete. Okay, and this thing is off. Let's first post. We have created the post URL. HTTP colon double slash local host colon 5050 slash save. Okay. And this thing you basically are currently seeing, this curly braces open and close, ID, name, city. Okay, this is the basically a JSON. So basically, copy this. Okay, post body raw. Click on the raw JSON. Okay, posting a data. Select here post. Enter the URL. Okay, go to body raw, then here JSON, then here you can write curly bracket open and close, enter. Okay, in double quote ID. Okay, colon 1 comma, then double quote, then what is here, in our application, entity I have name or email. Okay, name or email, then name colon double quote Anuj. Okay, comma double quote email colon double quote Anuj @ Gmail. Okay, this way, and just okay. This is good. Send. No problem. We will basically check what is the okay. So here in this IDE, this is the one. Okay, this is the IDE. Let me first go to the changes. Oh, now, no. Application bar property repository student and controller. Okay, the program is running. Okay, let this program stop the running this program. Okay, I want this to be. So I want to tell this like here we have a generated value equal to generation type dot identity. Okay, this is basically auto increment our value. We do not have to manually add the yeah type the ID. Okay, so here what is happening? Like when we are passing ID equal to 1, okay, and when we are entering, okay, so this is basically been added. Okay, ID equal to 1 and this is 200 equal to okay, it is been added. Similarly, in this way we are passing the data. Okay, if you do not add this ID equal to 1, remove this and I will change the name equal to uh, Anuj Kumar and email equal to Anuj at the rate Gmail. Okay, this way. And again, you also you have to select the post. This is the URL. We have created the save endpoint. Okay, the raw type is a JSON. Enter. The this data is basically 200 is the status code that is showing it is okay. It is successful. Okay. So now let me go to our database here. This is our table demo 3. This is the table demo 3. Inside a table, you can see automatically the student table has been created. Here you can see student 1 ID with the name 1 is basically created and ID with the name 2 is basically been created. Okay. So in this way. So this is the way of creating the, this is the first endpoint we have just now created. Okay. Now I want to create, this is the student table. This is the first endpoint we have created. And now go to this controller. Okay, it is coming down. Why it is coming down? I want this here. Okay, this is a controller. Now we have created one data for posting that thing. Okay. Now I will create an endpoint for getting the record with the help of APIs. Okay. And one more thing, we can see that data is basically being displayed here. Select ID, name. These are basically the queries. Okay, here you can see insert into the student. This is the queries which we have written in application or property. Here application dot property, application dot property, we have written show SQL. This will basically show us the SQL queries. Okay, so now that's why we are in console, we are seeing the SQL query insert into the student table, email and name and values are given. Okay, now we will create a API for getting all the data. So for getting, we have a get mapping, a get mapping. Okay, and AM should be a capital here. AM should be capital. Get mapping you will use, and here you will write public, public. We will basically get the thing, and the things will be basically a student, and student will be one student, two student, three student, and numbers of the students. So means more than one student. So how, what is the basically where we are storing the things which are more than one? we are storing in the form of the list array inside the collection. Okay, so here we will create the list because the data is more than one. So we will store inside the list. A group of data basically stored inside the list, and we can easily get the data. Okay, with the help of the list. Okay, and table name is entity table name is student. Now here is a student is the we have passed in the generics. Okay, this is the list, and we have to pass the student in the generics. So this is basically work as the object. And now right, get student. Okay, get student. Yeah, get all student. Get all student. This is a camel casing, which is basically I am following and enter in this way. Get all the student. First import the list. Go here, move the mouse cursor and import the list from here. Okay. Now get mapping. I will have to write. I want get to get all small. This is an endpoint and import. And what will be the URL here? The URL will be local host. HTTP basically by default it will be created. If you do not write HTTP, then also you will get the uh, web 80 slash get. This will be our URL. HTTP colon double slash. Now I will what return return repo repo repository object is repo. You can see repository object is repo, and we have find all method. You can see find all method, which is basically return the all the student. Okay, that will be stored inside the list. Okay, list. So click here. Okay, and just enter. Okay, and save. After saving, we are using the dev tool. It will automatically refresh the thing. Okay, we do not have to again and again stop the here, and again we have to come and run. We do not have to do the things. Okay, and go to postman. This time I will write get all, and the HTTP method will be a get for get the data send. So now we can see this is a JSON format in curly braces, simple English language, easy to understand, and like ID1, ID2. Okay, this is a you can click 200 is a status code that is okay. Raw, and this is the raw. This is a preview. This is a visualization. Okay, raw, epic. Okay, in this way. Similarly, this you can go to your what happened will be there. Open your Google Chrome, new tab, write local host. कीबोर्ड ही काम नहीं कर रही है. लोकल होस्ट. ओके 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 लोकल होस्ट कॉलन गेट ऑल. ओके, एंटर. Now you are seeing the all the data which is basically fetched from the database to your local browser. That is a local host browser, and this is a basically an API. Share this API to the front end developer. They will add this API into your link this API to the button. When we hit the button, this API will generally called, and we are getting the data. And this data will basically be the front end developer will add in the pages, and they will add image and everything. So this page basically look good. Okay. Now we have written how to get the data. Okay. Now we have seen get the data, getting in the form of the list. Okay, and returning and seeing the data. Now you want to get by ID, means you only want to get only one data. Okay, like get by ID. So for getting, we have a get mapping. Okay, and this, and I want to get slash curly braces open close, and he inside this curly braces double quote ID, means when I will pass ID, why not here double quote, only with just ID. Okay, this way. Now I will create one method. Enter. Okay, double click, double click. Oh, now it is a bit larger. Now create like public, public, public. So one class that is optional, optio optional class. Okay, then student entity table, and then get student by ID is the name of the methods. And curly braces, and I will return return what, repo dot find by ID, repo dot find by ID, and here. Okay, so this optional class generally what this is an optional class. This will check the data which we are returning. It have some data or it have some null value. So this is optional class basically help us to check the null value. Okay, so that is the use of optional classes. So we are getting the data. So we are checking with the help of optional classes the data we are returning is null or not. Okay, so that's why we are using optional classes. Then here we will use one annotation at the rate path variable, at the rate path variable, at the rate path variable in ID. Okay, at the rate path variable in ID. You go here semicolon. Get mapping we have to import first. So go here, get mapping. Optional we have to import. अरे काम तो नहीं कर रहा optional. Control plus S11, LIC public. Okay. Now optional, import optional, path variable, import path variable. Okay. Now it is open. This way we have created one endpoint. So what will be the URL for this endpoint? URL for this endpoint is http colon double slash localhost colon 8080 slash uh, get slash, then we will pass ID 123 something. Okay, this is it. And what is here path variable? Path variable basically get the data from the URL path into a method parameter. This form data basically get the data from our table and pass that data into this our method parameter, and basically will then return the value and display. Okay, that is the use of the path variable. Okay, then control plus save. Now it is running. Now go to our postman. Now this time we have also get. Now we will get by ID get slash ID, that is a one, and hit enter. Sorry, we are getting. I have not restart our project. So first restart the project first. Oh, we have missed to pass the ID here. ID. Okay. Save. Okay. Now let's check. Uh, get one. Enter. Okay. So now we are getting the record with the ID one. Similarly, if I do ID two send, we are getting the ID with that two. Okay. 200 is okay. Okay. So this is the third pattern. Save, get all, get by ID. Then we can also what do after getting by ID, we are left with the update and delete. Okay. So delete is very simple. And for deleting, you have at the rate DELE delete mapping and array yum should be capital yum a double PI mapping. Then colon. What I will pass? I will pass DELE delete slash then curly brackets ID. Okay. Because we want to delete by ID. Okay. This where the ID is one, I will delete that record. Then I will create one delete method that is a public ublic void means void. After deleting, I don't want to return something. We will delete student. Student. I want deleting student. So student. Yes, should be capital camel case student. And at the rate path variable p of RIA variable what in ID and curly braces. Then I will simply uh, void basically do not have a returned value basically and repo dot be delete repo dot delete by ID. Where is delete by ID? Here is delete by ID and pass the ID and enter. And here import, just import delete by ID. Okay, confirm. Go to the postman, select delete localhost. Then I will choose here DEL delete. I will delete slash ID one. Delete slash ID one. Enter. It has been deleted. Go to your database, refresh. See, the ID has been deleted. So in this way, we have deleted the ID. Okay. Now, one last thing is left, that is update. Okay, update things. Now I want to update the record to. Here is the record to. Okay. I want to update the name or email. So how we will basically update? Let me show you the small things. At the rate put MAPPI close colon. We want to update by ID. UPDUT update by slash ID. Curly braces ID. Okay. And then write public student table. Basically, we want to update the student entity table. I want basically update na. But that's why we will write student. Okay. Similarly, when we are posting the data, we are posting in student entity table. So I have written student. Okay, student is the data type. Similarly, here also we will write student. Okay, because we want to update the student. Then UPDA update. STU student is the our name. Then I have to write at the rate path variable for passing the ID variable. Then int sorry int ID then saving the data with the help of request body at the rate and r is equal to request body entity table name is student and object of entity table is student. Okay. Path variable here p will be basically character. Okay. You can import the put. Okay. And close the method. Then you have to write. Now, first I will find the student by the ID. Okay, student by find the student by ID. It's simple for finding the student by ID. What we are doing, we are just simply returning find by ID. This and get my okay. Then afterward, you can what you can do, come downward, then student student student. So here what we have to okay. Here I will remove this one. There is a one another way of doing this thing, and I will not do the this thing. I will not do the this thing. Okay, and I will show you one another way of doing the put update. Okay, so what is this? Currently, put mapping is basically used for updating the thing. Okay, and there is one another also HTTP that is a patch here. You can see go to Postman. See here patch. Patch is basically used for partially updating. Put is basically update the whole thing. Okay, patch. There is one also thing patch. Currently we will use the put update. Okay, so we will what we will do now. But up to this thing it is okay. Now we will give our ID student to write student student. No, first object repo dot find by find by find all by ID. No, not find all by ID. Find by ID. Only one I want to solve. And here I will pass the ID. And after passing the ID, it will come into the optional form. But it will come in optional form. Then I will get that object with the help of a get method and enter. Then in mouse in your keyboard, cursor plus space bar, not this one. Here, control plus one. Assign the statement to the new local variable. This way, click here. You can get the things are basically stored inside the student object. Okay. Then you can what you can do with the help of this student object, we can set the data. Okay. Like student student dot set name. Why we are getting set name, set ID? Because in identity class we have developed getter or setter. Getter for get the data, setter for set the data. This is basically setter for setting the data. You can also write set name. I want to set the name. Click here, double click. अरे हो जा हाँ double click and you can pass the name. Okay, I want to name to the Abhay. Sorry, let me first check. I have two. The name is Anuj. So I will change to Abhay and Abhay at the rate gmail.com. Okay. Then I will change to Abhay Kumar. This way I have set the data. Then I will student object, because we are finding by ID, it is basically stored inside the student object of the student entity. Okay, this is student entity. Now student object dot set email. Okay, this email, and I will write colon email, no, not emails. अब है @gmail.com. Okay, this one. And after doing this, we want to save the data. So we know this, for saving we have a save method. So report dot save. So report dot save. Save. What you will save? I will save this. Save this student object which we have just updated in these two lines. Okay. So I will student this student. Student. Okay. Enter. Okay. After saving this student, we have to return the student, and this return student will be go to the calling statement and it will return the value. So RETUR return STUD student object. Okay, return the student object. Okay, okay, save this thing, save this thing. Okay. Running outside, that's all. So update ID is our put method. Say go to the postman here, right, paste this update ID, that is 2, and we have basically currently the 2 is Anuj Kumar, and we have passed with the code, with the help of code we have passed student dot set name Anuj Abhay, this here Anuj at the rate Abhay at the rate gmail.com, this we have basically passed. Okay, and the the URL will be put send. Okay, this has been changed. So let's go to our MySql, refresh. So you can see the change data has, you can, the name is changed, email and name has been changed. So in this way we have created the update operation with the help of the. Similarly, there is a one another way of doing the update with the help of the put method also. Here we are basically what we have doing, we at the red part variable we will basically hit the ID. Okay, and here we are manually entering the updated field, and we are setting here only inside our method. But there is one another method here. You can see put. We will also do update thing with the help of put mapping. Here we have ID. Here what happened here? Basically, at the part variable same. Basically, at the request body student update student. Basically, what will request body will do? Basically, it will help us to save the data. Okay, because we are saving the data with the help of at the request body. What will happen here? Report dot find by ID, or else run new runtime abstraction. That is a abstraction object basically. Student not found. This you will leave this one, but focus on this. Student dot set name. We are basically writing a command to set the data. Update to student dot get name. Okay. Student dot set name. Update to student dot get name. Basically, we are not manually writing the field in this method. Okay. Basically, we will basically set the data and update to student. That is this update to student object. We will get the data, and that data will basically sit here. Okay, so this thing you can also practice both the thing. You should know both the method how it is basically working, and after that we will basically save the data. Okay, this two lines change only. For here we are manually entering the things, just setting the data. Here we are use the get data for getting that. So basically what will happen, uh, ID. Okay, go to the postman, hit ID, like see here, refresh this. Okay, this is the ID2. Okay, what I will do, ID2. Okay, go to the body, raw, type is a JSON, enter curly braces, enter name. Here we are passing the data. Okay, from postman we are passing the data. Name equal to Anuj Kumar. अरे क्या हो जाता है इसे, अनुज कुमार सिंह. ओके, और इंटर, डबल कोड, ईमेल, कॉलम, सॉरी, अनुज सिंह @ gmail.com. Okay, this two line of code is just okay. Here we are, and just this is a put method. URL is correct. It, see, it has been updated. So let's check in MySql, refresh. See, it has been updated. So this way, this is the another way of doing the things. Okay. Now, so this is a one project, simple project. Now in another project, we will use the service layer. Okay. Also, here we are directly making accessing the data with the help of repository layer. We have created the repository layer object. Okay. But in next project, we will basically what? We will also create a service layer. Okay, from the service layer, we will basically controller will interact with the service layer, and that service layer will interact with the repository layer, and repository layer will interact with the database. So that flow we will basically we are going to cover in next session. Okay, next project. Okay, so thank you for this. Meet you in the next classes.